My name is Miss Phyllis Raines, and I've been with Campfire since 1968.
What inspired you to start the museum?
Everybody thought I'd lost my mind, especially my grandkids. I had so many items and I fell in love with them, and I thought, somebody needs to see this. There has to be somebody out there that would be as impressed with the history of Campfire as I was. And there's so many beautiful pieces. So that's how I got started. I was recuperating. Well, I thought I don't have anything else to do, so I couldn't get up and do anything else. And I began to open it.
How did you and your kids first get involved with Campfire?
In 1968, my second grade daughter came home with a flyer. She said, "I'm going to be a bluebird." My reaction was a what? I had never heard of bluebird because we only had Girl Scouts in my hometown. I went to school with her and signed her up, and they needed a leader. And of course, I wound up being the leader, and I had 8 little girls for a year and a half, and then the other leader of 8 little girls moved out of town, and I inherited 8 more, so I had 16 little 3rd grade girls. And they stayed with me until they were in the 9th grade. I don't let my kids be involved in something that I wasn't involved in as well. And that's how I wound up in Campfire. The girls wanted to ride horses, and Mrs. Gulick said, "You can't ride a horse in a dress," and girls were not allowed to wear pants. So she designed a skirt that buttoned down the front and the back. And then when you buttoned them together, you had breeches. And she also raised the length of skirts because women could not show their ankles, but you couldn't walk and you couldn't hike in a skirt that almost dragged the ground.
Yeah.
So she raised the dresses 7 inches off the ground, and that was scandalous. You didn't show your ankles. And I can't imagine swimming in a bathing suit made of serge. I can just think of the weight of that fabric.
Top?
Midi blouse. These I made, but these are the original bloomers. They came in different colors too.
Can you share the first memory or image that comes to mind when you think about Campfire?
Oh my, the first one. Probably all 16 of those little girls around a sheet of plywood in my garage. My husband bought me a 6-foot folding table and a sheet of plywood, which he suspended on the wall of the garage. And we would let it down on that table. And I had 16 little girls around the table doing activities.
So the Campfire Girls helped raise money to help.
Helped to renovate the Statue of Liberty.
What inspired you to continue on as a campfire volunteer?
The organization. I love the history of campfire, and that's where I would shine. I was never recognized as the middle child in my family, and I grew up with the Campfire Girls, and I learned a lot of skills that I didn't have. It was forced learning, but I enjoyed it. And the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it. And I held every position in Campfire that a volunteer could hold, even as a staff person. I was a volunteer staff person, and I never wanted anything in return. And I still put a lot of those skills into action. It's something that sticks with you. I still get emotional because I've had so many little girls.
Why do you think you're drawn to the outdoors?
I wish I had an answer for that. I don't know. I just feel at home when I'm out, and I can stay all day. In fact, I've never had a helper, and I spend the day out in the country by myself. I would use my chainsaw. I would think, now, what would happen if it should kick back and I would get cut? There's nobody there to help me, nobody to save me, but I don't know. I just love being out there. That's why I spend all day at the farm, now. We would sell the donuts and carry them in baskets, not in boxes, and they'd go door to door.
How cute.
Oh, wow.
And there were like a couple of bakeries in town that would make the donuts. You pre-ordered them. The girls would go around and sell the orders and give them a coupon for them. And then they'd pick up the donuts and like her cinnamon roll and carry them around.
Which item in your museum impresses you the most?
The one thing that impresses me is, of course, from history, with the leader's record book. The record book was where the leader listed all of the girls' names and all of the honors that they earned. You had to keep a record of everything, and in the early years, you had to submit that record. You had to verify that the girls actually earned honors. The care and the love that the adult put into it. And I think that's the one thing that stands out.
What was the process like setting up the museum?
Actually, when I hung the grid wall and I started putting it up, almost immediately I realized I needed more space. I didn't have enough room to display everything, and I felt like that it needed to be displayed, and I started with 1910 over in the far corner, and I went in 10-year increments all around the room. And then I thought, oh gosh, I have so many pins and things, small things. How do I display the small things? You can't hang them on a wall. So I began to purchase display cases, and I found out I didn't have enough room in here for all the things. So I went to the second bedroom up here and filled it up, and I could have continued to fill up another room.
What is your hope for Campfire Kids over the next 115 years?
I would hope that they would build life skills, because that's the one thing that I have found. You learn so much. You learn how to be a community and to share your thoughts with other people, to be accepting of all people because, we all bleed the same color of blood.